Am I? I can never tell. Well, Twitch Studio Beta seems to think I am. Cool. Okay, so I'm live. Good. This is the first time I've done a proper stream of any kind. Uh, should be interesting. Should be fun. That's the plan anyway. The main purpose behind this is I realised I never seem to find the time to read. I don't have the organisation skills and the control over how I use my time to be able to set aside time to read and actually do it, unless I'm held to account. I don't know why that's the case. It's just something that it seems to be a block on my head that just goes. You can't do this unless you put things in the way to make you accountable. So that's what I'm doing with this. I tried it before with a couple of YouTube videos. They did moderately well considering they were largely an hour of me sitting on my own doing nothing. Well, at least from your perspective, because I was just sitting reading. I put them up. They were fine, but this actually feels like a more interactive way of involving other people because I can do the whole reading sprint thing, which I've tried a few of them. They seem to work well enough. So I've got my book. I'm going to chat for a couple of minutes, and then I've got a timer, which I'll be switching to like so. And we'll set the timer, and I'll read for that timer, and then we'll go back and we'll chat for a little bit. And hopefully, doing this means I'll actually be able to get through some of my books, and I'll actually do some reading rather than just saying I'm going to read and then not reading. Because the main issue is that I'm clearly butting heads with the ADHD. That's clearly the issue for me. I'm clearly sitting there going, I want to read, but my brain is going, yeah, but you could also do this, or you could also fall down the Wikipedia, rabbit hole, or you could watch this one video on YouTube that it's only 6 minutes, and then the next one, and then the next one, and then the next one. No, look, you fell asleep, and it's now 6 hours later. So I need to do something, otherwise I don't have any control. And it's a piss poor excuse, but it's at least something. I'm going to need to mute Discord, or Discord is going to beep all the way through the stream. So, one moment. Right, there's Discord muted. That should help. I do apologise, you're probably all saying something of interest. But yeah, I can't engage with both at the same time. So yeah, that's the plan anyway. So I'm going to do it in 20-minute chunks, and then maybe 5 minutes of chat in between, and we'll go until I'm sick of it. You're welcome to stick around for as long as you like. I do apologise, but like the typical fat guy, I have a McDonald's burger because I couldn't be asked to cook, so I will be stopping occasionally to take a bite. I'll only be a little video in the corner. Don't worry. You don't need to watch me masticating. I love that word. So close to another one. But yeah, let's get the reading started, and we can chat a little bit, and we can decide how we feel about the book. I'm not going to go into too many spoilers or anything, but I'm reading Empire of Silence, so that should be fun. I'm actually a fair way in at this point, though nowhere near as far as others. I'm just about to finish chapter 10, which is not too bad, unless you're Andrew's Whittley reads, in which case you've read twice as much in a quarter of the time. Because not only do I struggle to find the time, I've also got a slow reading speed. Like, I read around 220 words per minute, which is significantly slower than the average booktuber. So it's going to take me a while to get through this, but that's why I need to do these streams. Anyway, enough messing about, because I've been on stream now for 5 minutes, so let's get the timer going, and I'll see you in 20 minutes. So, I wouldn't be able to actually close that. I just meant to stop the timer. There we go. It's back now. Right. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so that was 20 minutes. And in that time, admittedly, I did stop to eat the burger, so I probably only read for about 15. But in that time, I read 1, 2, 6 pages. Which just goes to show just how slow my reading speed is. It's a major problem, really. I am enjoying it. We've reached a point where there's some agency happening. The characters are actually doing something, which is nice. It's good to actually see some progress, especially given that I'm still less than 100 pages in, and plot is happening, which is nice. Because it's very easy for a lot of these books, these larger books, to meander for the first 100 to 150 pages. And given how slowly I can read, that's basically like 100 pages for me may as well be like 8 hours of reading at this point with this book, because I mean it's not just a thick book, it's also extremely dense text. Like when I say I read what was it, 5 or 6 pages? 6 pages. It's 6 pages at over 400 words a page. Like this would have been about 10 pages of most books. So it's a little disingenuous to go by page counts, because page count's different. Ooh, comment. Oh, it's a spammer. Want to become famous? Buy followers. How about fuck off? Right, so a way I can ban him. Ban. There we go. Seriously, first stream, I'm less than half an hour in, I've already got dickheads asking me to buy shit. Why the hell do I want to buy followers? So yeah, well, apparently there's 3 people watching, so I'm not talking to myself in a void. That's nice. Hopefully it's somewhat entertaining. I'm not completely wasting your time. We'll start another 20-minute read in a couple of minutes. I'm just going to go and get another can of Coke. Right, so yeah, I'm quite enjoying. My main problem is, like I say, these reading sprints, even with like 20 minutes to read, I'm getting through so little of the book that I only have maybe 2 or 3 minutes worth of stuff to talk about at the end. If that, especially if I'm avoiding spoilers. But if I can do this regularly, I'll actually get through the books, and I'll get to experience the stories I want to experience, which will be nice. Still, at least it's a focus. Now, what I may do is I may switch it up and read, a bigger book like Empire of Silence on one day, and then read shorter little books, stuff that's effectively novellas or under 200-page small books, in the hope that maybe I can get through a few books rather than just constantly reading the same book for like 3 weeks on end, because that's likely to happen. But I do think these streams will make a big difference. So I'm going to go back to reading now. It's 9 o'clock. We're going to start another 20 minutes, and I'll see you. I'll see you in 20 minutes. So, that's 2 lots of minutes. Not too bad. I am now right at the beginning of chapter 13, page 95. So, not too bad. Again, that's another 6 pages. So, not a massive amount, but it's something at least. It's a very traditional story. If you've not read it, I'm going to go over some of the basics. I'll try not to be too spoiler filled. Empire of Silence. This is a future fantasy. Most people call them sci-fi. It's not sci-fi. It's future fantasy. There's no science in this, but it is fantastically atmospheric. It feels kind of like if someone made Star Wars into a book in a lot of ways. You've got a very strong Roman aesthetic. There's a lot of Latin terms and a sense that Roman culture has become a thing in this world. Somehow it's like rekindled. And it's clearly set in a far future where they're no longer on Earth, but Earth history is still considered to be their history, but it's ancient history now. It's old Earth back over there somewhere. Kind of the same way we would look at the Roman Empire now. It's quite interesting. There's a lot of low tech. Because of the way that the political systems are set up, the average person isn't allowed to have technology. Technology is heavily restricted, which means that you end up with this spacefaring world, but where the average person still has technology less than ours. Like there's a scene where there's some people with bikes, and having a bike is considered to be odd and weird. Like they're not pointedly restricted, but they're difficult to get hold of because a motorbike would be technology, like simple things that we would take as a standard now, like a smartphone, for example. The average person would have nothing close to that. But technology does exist, and space travel is clearly a thing. There's a lot of talk about wars and trade and things like that. So it has that Star Wars feel. At the same time, I mean, I'm only a few chapters in. Like you can see by my bookmark placing, I'm less than a quarter of the way through the book. But already, this has nuance that something like Star Wars just couldn't have. Simply because you get a feel for the characters, you get to spend time with them, and you get the subtleties. You also don't get the overt stupidity that you get with a lot of film franchises. Like when they describe things, they don't make the obvious mistakes that you get in TV-based sci-fi. And when I say sci-fi, I mean what the general public think of as sci-fi. Like Star Wars, for example, has deserts, planets where the entire planet is a desert, and yet it's livable. Climates don't work that way. If you have a desert that's livable, it will be polar in the ice cap, or it will be so hot at the equator that it would be completely impossible to live there, and the deserts around the poles would be the only habitable area. You can't have a jungle planet. That's not how science works. And I get the impression that this has a similar feel without having the obvious flaws, like the lack of biomes on any of the planets that Star Wars has. So far, it's very traditional fantasy. We've got our main character, we've got the old mentor, we've got the call to action, the very traditional fantasy story, but it's well told. It's well told and it's interesting, so I don't mind. A traditional story is not necessarily a bad thing. You can have tradition without it being rote and boring. This does a good job of having that traditional story. And the writing is particularly good. It puts me in mind of Name of the Wind, which I know a lot of other people have said. It's for a good reason, though. Each chapter takes about 15 minutes to read for me, which is a nice size. It's nice and bite-sized. The pacing is really, really well placed. There's a lot of emphasis on smells, which is a nice touch, and feeling the way that the character has an impression. The thoughts going through their heads that very occasionally come through on the page, which is a nice touch. The writing is very particular, and the prose fit that style of writing. It's not needlessly purple. It's not floral prose. It's not trying to be poetry, but it is trying to be aesthetically pleasing, which is nice. It's nice to have that. I think that a lot of people think that prose just means being as flowery and as complex as you can get. That's not the case. You can have prose that are simple and easy to watch unfold, that still give a sense of beauty, and I think that Empire of Silence has pulled that off. I can read through that with a reasonable level of competence and speed without needing to go back and reread sentences to make sure I've understood what this needlessly poetic sentence with 3 words that they clearly used a fucking thesaurus to get is supposed to mean. Like, there are a lot of novels, especially fantasy novels, where I come across words that I have to look up. I am extremely well versed when it comes to the English language. Like, my vocabulary is way higher than my peers, way higher than my parents. It was something that I would have arguments with. Like, my dad would have a go at me when I was talking because I would use a word he'd never heard. When I was a teenager, I've always been like that. When I'm reading a book and I come across a word I haven't come across before, there's a problem. Now, if it happens once or twice in 300 pages, fair enough. I'm not claiming I know every word. I'm not claiming that I'm some literary genius. But if it's happening every chapter, which I've seen in some books, you're being a pretentious git and you need to stop it. So yeah, Empire of Silence has not done this so far. I've not come across anything that makes me jump out and go, I don't recognise these words, what the hell are you talking about? I have come across a few issues, and that is the made-up words. The class of individual is interesting, and there's some words that, because they're not real words, they're clearly made-up words, they're based on real words. Like, it's clear that one of the words is based off the word academic. But I'm not really sure how it'd be pronounced, and one of the problems is I still read an internal monologue. And I know that that's something you need to train yourself out of. It'll probably speed up my reading speed if I manage it, because I'm still reading at quite a low rate. But I still struggle to read without voicing what I'm reading in my head. So if I'm reading something and I come across a word I can't pronounce, I can't read it. I have to stop and I need to figure out how that's pronounced. You put this is where Brandon Sanderson need to smack. You put a character's name in it that's like 7 letters long with not a single fucking vowel in it, I'm gonna find you and I'm gonna rip your skin off. Stop it, Brandon. Right. Names should be easily pronounceable. Same with fantasy words that are just pointlessly long or designed to look exotic. What's wrong with calling someone like Tom and Jim and Dave? Like, David is a biblical name. It's not a bad name for a main character. Yeah. What about David, Sam, Steve, Mark? These are all fine names. Pick them. Use them. Like, you can even use variations on them. Like if you had David and Marcus, there you go. You've got two names that are really, really easy to read. Right? Very, very common names that you could stick in your book that are memorable names that would fit into a fantasy world without seeming too modern. It's the same with women's name. With women, the naming. What's the phrase I'm looking for? That the method of naming across most cultures is pretty similar. Uh, Male names are designed to be sharp, flattened. They end in N or M sounds, or they have syllables, or they have a couple of sharp syllables. Whereas women's names are usually more lyrical. They usually end in a vowel. They often begin with a vowel, and there's usually a 2 to 3 syllable cadence. This is common across many, many languages. Now, obviously, it's different in some cultures. Like if we go to China or India, where we've got very, very different languages. These are completely different. But if we're talking any European language, and let's face it, I'm reading in English, so we are, then it should be very clear from the names who I'm reading about, and I should be able to get from the name a sense of who these people are. And it's often very difficult in a lot of books. I'm glad that this uses a couple of really simple names. Like Hadrian Marlowe is a really, really good main character name. It's succinct, it's simple, it feels powerful. I'm liking that so far. It's a good point for the book. This is just a stream of consciousness. I'm not editing anything. It's just thoughts as I'm reading. Right, I've been chatting now for at least another 10 minutes on top of the reading. Someone's horn going. I've been chatting for at least another 10 minutes, closing in on 15 minutes now. So I'm actually going to take a break. I'm going to go and use the facilities upstairs, and I'm going to put it on to be right back, and I'll be back in a couple of minutes, and we'll do another sprint then. So hopefully that'll be good. I'm going to mute the microphone just so you don't get any background noise or anything, and I'll be back probably in the next 10 minutes or so, depending on how long it takes me, and we can run probably a half-hour sprint, I think. So I'll see you in a few minutes. Hello. So, let's go straight into another sprint, shall we? It's just a 10-minute break, but just in case anyone's reading during that, we'll just go straight in, shall we? I'm going to finish the end of the page. Okay. So, chapter 15, page 110. Not doing too badly. I've enjoyed the read for now. The last couple of chapters were not unexpected. So yeah, there are certain story tropes that you can just see coming, and yeah, this book doesn't shy away from using exactly those tropes. Doesn't mean they're bad. If it fit the story that they're telling, and it was well told. So I'm quite pleased to continue reading. What the hell? Go away. Ah. Social media, it doesn't let up, does it? Yeah. I'm interested to see what happens next. I suspect it's going to be somewhat predictable, but that doesn't mean that it can't be entertaining, or have a couple of odd little jumps or changes to it that'll keep it fresh. So I don't really know exactly what's going to come, but I suspect we're going to have a bit of a change of pace over the next couple of chapters. But I don't imagine there's going to be anything majorly shocking for a good few chapters yet. I look forward to seeing how space travel is depicted. I think that's going to be intriguing, because we've yet to see that in the book, and it looks like we're going to see it in the next few chapters. So that'll be good. Other than that, it's been a fun time. I was gonna have another sprint after this, but it's now almost 10:20, and we've been going for almost 2 hours. So I think I'm gonna call it to a close there. As all in all, that's been Uh, 1.5 hour to 20 minutes, so an hour and 10 minutes of reading. Not too bad. It was nice to get that in. I struggle generally with eye strain, which causes my migraine. So if I read for longer than about half an hour at a time, I risk causing a migraine and I risk making myself quite sick. So the fact that we've managed to get a good hour of reading in has been nice, even with like the 10-minute break before. It's been fun. I may try and get a little bit of reading done in bed tonight, but if not, that was a nice experience. So I'm going to do this again, and if people want to watch along, great. If not, that's fine. It gives me a reason to sit and read. One thing I am noticing is my back is aching, having sat in this computer chair for the last not quite 2 hours, but close on 2 hours. And I do have my big comfy chair over there in what would be my reading nook. So I'm going to try and figure out a way that I can set my webcam up so that I'll be away from the computer whilst reading. I don't know how I'm going to pull that off because the computer's on the opposite side of the room. But as it stands, if I'm reading here, I'm reading in a less comfortable position. And it's just going to make me not enjoy it as much. I'd rather be curled up on a comfy chair with nice cushions, with a reading light above me that I can enjoy. So I'm going to try and go for that. At one point I'm going to get a better computer chair, because one of the big problems I've got at the moment is this is just a pretty standard office chair, as you can see. So it's not the most comfy of chairs. It's what I use it for, but I could do with a proper comfortable office chair, like one of those big gaming chairs. But I'm a big guy, and I've sat in them. I don't fit in them. I'm 6'5". I'm well over 360 pounds at this point. I may even be over 370. I'm not sure. Scales don't go that high, so it's hard to say. I have a 58-inch chest. I don't fit in a lot of things, and chairs is one of them. Like if you've got fitted chairs with the arms are built into the chair in a restaurant, I will not be able to fit in them. The arms are too wide. I'm too wide to fit between the arms. So, and it's not even a weight issue either. It's a structural issue. My hips are too wide. My chest is too wide for me to fit through certain gaps. I could lose all the weight. I could be a skinny bastard, and I'd still be too big for a lot of things, simply because I'm just naturally huge frame-wise. And then add on that I'm also piled on the weight, so I am just way too damn big. It's why the reading nook is going to be more comfortable, because technically what I've got there is a 2-person chair. It's a big round swivel chair that's designed as kind of like one of those love seat things for a couple to cuddle up on, which means it's about the right size for me on my own, because it's designed for 2 average sized people, and I am about the size of 2 average sized people. But yeah, it's been fun though. So I'm gonna end this, and then I'm also gonna push this onto YouTube, because I can sync this with YouTube and just immediately post it. So I'm gonna do that, and I haven't decided whether or not I'm gonna put these streams up as normal videos or if I'm gonna put them up as unlisted. I think I'm gonna put them up as normal videos for now, but then I'll probably make them unlisted once I can see how they're performing, and make it so there's a streams section on the front page, so you can still find the streams, but they don't send out alerts. That's probably the best way to do it. But yeah, at one point we had 3 viewers, and that's not counting the the bot I had to ban for trying to sell me shit, because that there was still a third viewer for a good 10-15 minutes after that person was banned. We've currently got 2 viewers. Don't know who you are, but thanks for watching. I wasn't actually expecting anyone to watch, given that I announced it with absolutely zero free time. But it was nice, and it gave me an excuse to read. Hopefully you got some reading done yourself. If so, I'd love to hear about it. If you want to check us out in Discord, I'll figure out a way of linking the Discord somewhere. But yeah, the Discord is... let's see. Can I figure out a way of putting the Discord invite on screen? There's got to be. Here we go. It's not the best way to get it done, but that should at the very least allow you to see it. So what I'm going to do is we change that to Notepad. And that is the Discord link. So you want to join Discord, type that in, and you can join us on the Discord. It's a nice little community. We've got a fair few people chatting on a regular basis. We occasionally talk about video games, books, geek culture in general, and there's a few D&D games that are actively running on there as well. But yeah, I'm struggling to figure out exactly how to advertise the Discord, if I'm honest. But it's a small community. It doesn't really need advertising because it's not really that kind of thing. I'm not looking to get hundreds of people there. It's not a means of monetizing. It's just a way to discuss stuff. So for what it is, it's a hell of a lot of fun, and I really like the community that's there. It encourages me to engage in my hobbies, and at a time when I've been struggling to do a lot of my hobbies, it's been nice. I'm going to go back to full screen. So yeah, I've struggled to play video games a lot because my hands have been getting worse. My migraines have been getting worse. I've not really had the time because of the chronic fatigue. So I find that I'm not really playing my video games anymore. I'm barely switching the PlayStation on most of the time. So what used to be one of my biggest passions is now something I barely engage in. And since the beginning of 2020, reading has become a reluctant passion. It's a passion that I want to establish, but that I feel woefully inadequate at, because my ability to read is very, very limited. I can only read so much, and I'm quite slow at it. And my experience with reading is woefully tiny compared to someone of my age normally. At 35, I've read almost nothing of what would be considered the modern canon. Right? When it comes to what you think of as the big names in sci-fi, in fantasy, in horror, in contemporary works, I've read almost none of them. I've read a fair few classics when I was a lot younger. I've read quite a few dystopian novels. I quite enjoy them as a genre, so I've read a few of them, but they're also often a lot shorter as well. I've read a few Stephen King. For some reason, Stephen King was always my weakness when I was in my teens and early 20s. So I read more of his novels than anything else. So I've got a little bit of reading under my belt, but not a great deal. And a lot of the big names that you'd think most people will have read, if they show any interest in reading at all, I still haven't got round to. And that bothers me. But it's nice to have a community that still talks you on and prompts you to actually do it, even if it does take you literally, a week and change to get this far into one book. And it feels like I'm trying to climb a mountain that's never ending, and other people are zooming past me without seemingly being able to stop. It was the same with Sentinel Ascends. I was thoroughly enjoying that book, and it took me so much longer than I wanted to actually finish it. Leviathan Wakes took me literally months. Same with Way of Kings, literally months. I enjoyed them, but they took me so long. I don't know how to fix this. Short of literally doing nothing but reading, like devoting every waking moment that I physically can to reading, I can't think of a way that I can get through these in even a close to reasonable amount of time. But I suppose that means that my library of a few hundred books will probably last me the rest of my life, and that's no bad thing. So, I'll see you next time. Oh, we've just had a new viewer. Someone else just logged on right in the tail end, just as I was about to say goodbye. I do feel slightly bad now. I do save these streams, so if you do want to watch back the stream, you're welcome to do so. But I'm afraid you've just joined in the last minute of the stream, so thanks for popping in anyway. I appreciate it. And I'll see you next time. Hopefully you're not too disappointed that you missed out. It was just me sitting in a room talking to myself whilst reading, so wasn't too much. Anyway, see you next time. Bye.